Good morning and welcome back to Miniature Monday here on Gaming with ADHD. Today we're going to be continuing our look at the Terrain Crate 3 Kickstarter from Mantic Games. There have been quite a few updates over the last week, and so I want to make sure that if you have been on the fence about this Kickstarter or if you haven't heard of it, that at least you get a little bit more of an idea of what they're going to be releasing. They've added some better pictures, some more detailed updates. Ronnie did a video showcasing the terrain up against the battle zones terrain that they've already had. So I just wanted to go through a little bit of that, show you what's going on, and hopefully you get a little bit more excited about this like I am. So with that said, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you find this interesting. I do try to cover all sorts of tabletop gaming content, whether it be role-playing games, miniatures games, or anything in between. So again, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any of the content. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got going on. So here's the Kickstarter. They had asked for £25,000, and they are currently at 64,239. So they've obviously more than doubled it. And with that means there are a bunch of stretch goals and additional content that have been released. So one of the first things that I want to mention, where is it? Is the stretch goals. So all of the stretch goals looks like they've been upgraded to 2 pieces instead of a single piece being added, which I think is a great change. There was a social goal, which somehow I missed that, but they've added some skull piles. They've added these wrecked bikes and other terrain barricades for scatter. They've added tree toppers, a bunch of stuff. And it looks like we've got more tree toppers, more battlefield scatter, again, more tree toppers, battlefield scatter, etc. So they just keep expanding. It looks like they're going to be going about every 1,000 pounds. Like I said, we're currently at 64,000. So the next big add is going to be at 65, getting 2 new pieces, or technically 5 pieces. So you get 3 of the I'm not quite sure what this is for the battlefield crate, but you do get 3 of them. You get 2 of the forest, the toppers, and then it'll be 2 pieces more or less every 1,000 as they go. Now, they do have their battle mats, which they've actually released some more detailed pictures. So let's take a look at that. Actually, give me 1 second. Okay. All right. So this is the first one. Obviously, very detailed. It's got some, blue fungus type spots. So it's, kind of matching the theme that they're going for in how they've been painting the terrain. It looks like it's also incorporating a lot of kind of the design elements of the Dead Zone playmat with this sort of bombed out, texturing. So they're definitely trying to mix them up. People have been asking for the Dead Zone 3-inch grid, and Mantic has said that they are looking into that, so that's actually good to hear. Here is the second battle mat. So this very much looks like the alien forest that they've been showing off. Again, we've got some of these little fungal patches, and then the green alien slime river. I don't know. Well, that's what I'm going to call it. And then obviously we've got the nice generic one. So, sort of a little bit of a rocky terrain kind of look to it. But overall looks really, really good. And I'm pretty excited about it. All right, so here is a picture of the battle mat with well, obviously lots of models, terrain, the templates that they're creating for the buildings and the forests. So if you look right here, actually let's kind of zoom this in. So like right here, we've got the forest template and kind of an example on how they would use it. If you look underneath this building, actually all of these buildings, they do have the building templates in place so that you can see those being used. So honestly, I really like that idea. I am kind of surprised that I haven't seen anyone do it before. I'm not saying they haven't. I'm just saying I personally haven't seen it. So I like what they're doing there. It actually gives a lot more definition to the buildings, to what you're trying to do, to the forests. I know that in the past I've made forest templates out of, MDF and a little bit of sand texture, which are nice and I like them. I still have them to this day. Made them like 20 years ago. But these neoprene ones, very lightweight, very easy to use. I think it's going to be a better option moving forward, to be honest with you. All right. They also did this example of using some of the alien terrain, but then using miniatures from Dungeon Saga. I don't know why my brain blanked on the name for a second. I thought it was... I kept trying to tell myself it was something else, but no, Dungeon Saga. And... saying, yes, use this terrain for a role-playing game. It doesn't have to be typical fantasy with a normal forest. You can do the fantasy mushroom alien kind of forest in your role-playing games as well, even if it's a fantasy game and not a science fiction game. So I really like how they are showing off other ways to use the content. And then we've got this one here, kind of a close-up of the... actually, let's zoom in a little bit. Close-up of the forest template with a couple of models. We've got an Enforcer Peacekeeper and a Forge Father Iron Warrior. For scale, Peacekeepers are a little taller than Games Workshop Terminators, and Forge Fathers are a little bit shorter than an average human, because they're space dwarves after all. But overall, I really, really like the look. Again, this really just reinforces my excitement over the forest templates and the idea to actually just create those. I think I'm gonna keep coming back to that. I think it's a fantastic idea. All right, so that is pretty much the updates from the Kickstarter. Actually, we will look at one. They did answer some Q&A. So basically, somebody wanted to know about the trees being tall, having a higher center of gravity. Is it likely to overbalance, or is the base weighted to make it stand in the face of board setup, table bumps, clumsy hands, etc.? So, Mantic advises magnetizing the models, because obviously they are adding that upgrade. But the base sections, in my opinion, they look pretty wide, so I think they will be pretty stable. I think there will still be some issues with them falling over, but I don't think it's going to be a big problem. But again, you can also modularize them. So if you think some things are more prone to falling over than others, make it shorter, make it, just off-center it. I mean, whatever it is you're going to do, there are going to be options. So I don't think it's going to be that big a problem. Will there be enough extra base pieces to have a complete forest only one section high? I would really like to have this option. So they say they will give plenty of smaller base pieces so that a large proportion of the toppers can be used on their own. The stretch goals also come with bases where appropriate, so there will be plenty of, to go around. So that's going to be good. The neoprene is going to be standard 2mm, so it's not going to be very thick. Some people don't like that, but it is what it is. They are obviously going to be contracting these out to manufacturers, and asking for different thicknesses of neoprene isn't necessarily going to be a good option, or even necessarily a good cost savings measure. So I'm going to give them that one. Let's see. The pieces are going to be made out of a high-grade PVC, so they are going to be a little bit bendy, a little bit soft, but they say that it's going to be less bendy than the original terrain crate. I know some of the original terrain crate pieces were pretty bendable, but they weren't too bad, so I'm not too worried about that. They are looking into including magnets, but obviously that is going to increase the costs for the backers. So they aren't quite sure if they're going to do that, but they do like the idea of just buying it and having everything you need. Honestly, depending on local laws, local regulations, like I know that like ball magnets are outlawed in some areas. Not necessarily that they would use those. I'm just using that as an example. But with some of the rare earth magnets, there can be different legal issues involved. So to be honest with you, I don't think it's necessarily a good idea, because they do ship worldwide. Ship it out and then let the individual player adjust to whatever local regulations they have to deal with. So something to consider. And then they show off the larger images of the battle mats. So last thing, let's show off the video of Ronnie. It's just a couple of minutes, and I think he does a good job at showing that off, so bear with me a second. All right, so here we have the man himself, Ronnie Renton. One thing I do want to say real quick before I play the video, I think Ronnie is fantastic. He is a fantastic addition to gaming, to miniatures, literally to any kind of hobby space in general. He absolutely has a passion for every single product that comes out of Mantic Games. He learns the games. He knows how to talk about them, what their strengths are, what makes them good products compared to other things in the market, while still respecting other portions of the market. So keep that in mind when you're listening to this, because to me, just his passion and his excitement about it does come through. So let's take a look.
Hi Dead Zone Fanatics, it's Ronnie here, and I've just got myself set up a little bit of a Dead Zone mat just to show you, in case you missed it, but I'm sure you haven't, or if you've got any questions, how the new scatter and ruins and trees works on a Dead Zone board. So when I built my own Dead Zone board, I found myself spending some fun, but quite a lot of time, building the stuff between the buildings that broke up the line of sight. So these were pieces that I built myself. And I realised that there was nothing really on the market with both plastic, durable, good quality, right size, to do that quickly. So we've got the ruins.
So real quick, I do want to point out, I think the Dead Zone terrain, the 3-inch, Battlefield? No, it's not Battlefield in a box. That's Gale Force 9. The terrain, well, they call it terrain crate now. They've called it a few different things in the past, but I think it's been done fairly well at including some Battlefield just scatter terrain, the little pieces. But I can get what he's saying about wanting more varied options. One problem with plastic sprues is you do end up with very consistent, very, a lot of just the same thing that you're dealing with. So I understand why he was wanting to come out with something to just give it a little bit of variety.
Some smaller pieces, you can see there's the cross hatch from the Battle Zones range, which just lovely break up a square, to break up that line of sight. Slightly bigger pieces, which are kind of full wall sections, but they go down, spray them up. Corner pieces, and then you've got scatter. And again, the scatter we've got so that there's a significant amount of it. You you know, a barricade breaking up. Figures can go behind them, designed for miniatures. Similarly with the trees, here they are. This is the biggest you can get it. Well, you can go bigger, but why would you? So base, middle and topper, one of each. And that's going to break up your line of sight. It looks a little bit exotic. It looks fantastic. There's the other mushroom.
That's another thing I want to point out. Now that he's put that tree down, you know, we were talking about in the FAQ where people were concerned that they were going to be top heavy and fall over very easily. Now he's obviously glued that together, but you know, he just stands it there and it works, no problems. It sits very well. It doesn't look like it's going to fall over very easily. So I think it's a great selling point for the terrain.
Small base, middle, topper. And over here you've got the same small base, middle, topper. And that's just a topper and a base. And these just go and they're going to add a whole kind of alien dimension. But again, do exactly the same stuff of blocking your line of sight. Okay. Oh yeah. So there they are. There's the ruins and scatter, and then the plants, trees, crates. And they go on perfectly. So if something you want to jump on board, we are still running, I think, for another week or so. Hopefully it's something that you will like, and if we know money's tight at this time, stick a quid in. The pledge manager is going to open up in Jan. It's going to run for 3 or 4 months, so you can always jump on board then. But yeah, lovely stuff, and you know, I think it's going to be half price or more than half price in the Kickstarter, so it's worth something if you want to get some scatter on your gaming table. Worth doing. Right, everybody, thanks.
All right, so that was Ronnie Renton. Last thing I do want to point out, they did add a few other things to the add-on section. I do want to kind of point out that because of his last comment where he was mentioning that you'd probably save about 50% by backing the Kickstarter. So they've added a couple of options. So they've got an abandoned town. Looks like more of a fantasy option here. Whoop, that is not quite what I wanted it to do. That is really not what I wanted it to do. Look, we're nothing but professional here. All right, there we go. I just wanted to kind of zoom in so you could see this a little better. So they've got the abandoned town set, which they say it has a recommended price of £60, which you can do as an add-on for $40. The industrial zone, again, regular retail of £60, add-on for $40. So, yeah, you're going to pay about $50 or $60 US in order to get that, but you know, that is coming down from about $75, $80. So I think, you know, that's pretty good to be able to save about a third on these sets. If you want an additional crate, you can actually get that for £45, which you can actually see right here. Just getting one of the crates would run you £50. So you want to get a second one, you'll actually save a little bit of money. So I mean, Mantic Games to me really is a great value if you're in the miniature gaming space. So, you know, like I said, definitely if you are into miniatures gaming and you want some more terrain for playing your games at home, absolutely check out Terrain Crate 3. Just for full disclosure, I am not sponsored in this video. I just really like Mantic Games and Ronnie, and I absolutely want to support them in this. So, you know, I'm literally doing this of my own volition. So please, you know, back the Kickstarter if you are interested, and you know, hopefully we can get some more awesome terrain out of this. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up, and obviously, you know, subscribe to the channel for more tabletop gaming content. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.